We need a song in the public domain that we don't need to pay for. That's what we need to do.
That's exactly what we need to do because, like, our outro song goes really hard. Like, it gets me pumped every time I finish listening to it. Mm-hmm. But also, like...
But we got to pay money for it.
I don't want to pay for a song every week, you know?
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to pull up some public domain songs. I'm going to play them for you. If we find one that we like, maybe that'll be the new outro song.
Totally.
All right. This one is called Tramp, Tramp, Tramp.
This is Tramp, Tramp, Tramp.
American, Eastman Wind Ensemble, and Frederick Fennell.
I'm going to have to say no.
How about this one?
Like an indie vibe? I'm getting an indie.
This is public domain songs from the Wild Land.
Oh, it's getting way too Mumford and Sonsy.
It's Dollywood.
It is Dollywood. Oh, listen to that bass.
Hey, yeah.
No. Stop it. I don't like it anymore, David. Okay. I like this a lot more. Super old-timey.
I like that.
A classy...
I like that a lot.
Classy old-timey. Me too. Yeah. This still fits in that same vein, you know?
Yeah.
Old Hollywood.
Feels...
A
little ragtime.
Okay. So, ragtime halftime? It's a half of a ragtime.
I kind of like that.
I do too. Does it ever pick up?
Well, let me go forward a little bit. Let's see.
Hey, there we go. Oh, shoot.
It just makes you want to snap.
That's it. That's the one. We're going to try this one out. Man, I love ragtime.
Oh, that's good stuff.
That's good stuff. That's classic.
That's good stuff.
That's good Hollywood right there. Hello, my baby.
Hello and welcome back to Little Orphan Annie.
Hello and welcome to Podzilla. It's a digital discourse of pop culture. Pop culture and movies and TV and video games even. Sometimes we talk about comic books, but hey, what do you think about President Richard Nixon?
Hey, it's been endorsed by Richard Nixon as his favorite podcast. Podzilla comes to you live from Podzilla.
Welcome back to Richard Nixon's favorite podcast, Podzilla. Podzilla. Grab your dame and
dance along.
Hit the dance floor as we talk about movies and pop culture.
Do you love cinema? Do you love visiting the drive-in and popping your popcorn?
What do you think about Robert Pattinson as Batman?
What do you think about Robert Pattinson as Batman?
This just in, there are leaked photos of Robert Pattinson as Batman. Pattinson is back, babies.
Pattinson is back.
Grab your loved one and hold them dear because there are aliens coming down because there's a vampire as Batman. What do we think about it? Stay tuned.
Do you think Robert Pattinson has moxie?
I like that song.
That's a good one. We're going to keep that one. We'll get a little ragtime.
I think that's a winner.
Yeah.
If I ever saw one.
All right. Let's intro the podcast.
Hello and welcome to Podzilla. It's a digital discourse in pop culture. I am your co-host on this journey through lights and magic, and my name is David.
And my name is Braden.
Thank you so much for visiting on this episode. Hey, please, if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. Please like the video. Please send a comment. Totally. That helps us so much. We're here at episode 20, and if we could break 100 subscribers, that's not even a lot.
On our 20th episode?
On our 20th episode.
All we need is 10 more. At the time of recording this, we need 10 more.
At the time of recording this, all we need is 10. I think that's super doable.
It's so doable, and it's a humble ask.
It's a humble ask.
We're not
100
asking
isn't a lot. 100 isn't a lot.
It's 10 followers. It's not a lot. It'd be a lot for me personally.
Yeah.
It'd be cool.
Yeah.
Honestly, maybe it's the new outro. Let us know in the comments below if you like the new outro.
If you like the new outro music.
Are you like? Should we call our fans ragtime gals?
I don't know. We had some followers call the fanzillas.
Fanzillas?
No, just Zillas.
Oh, just Zillas.
They called us Zillas, actually.
So if we're the Zillas,
Fanzillas is pretty cool.
Fanzillas are cool.
Let us know in the comments what our community should be called.
Let's establish this early. We don't have a lot right now.
Yeah, but
let's establish it early so like we have a new Fanzilla.
Because the people who are here now and who are like faithful now,
listen week in, week out.
They're the ones.
We're talking to you, Robert.
We're talking to you, Dobby.
We're talking to you, Amber Marie.
We're talking to you, Mom.
And my mom. Talking to you, Jamie.
Yeah, we're talking to all of you who are commenting.
Yeah,
and,
totally. We appreciate all of you guys, but also
so much.
Let's get some other friends on the ground level.
Absolutely.
Before this bandwagon just starts careening off a cliff that nobody can stop.
That's right.
Just hop on while you can before you can't catch it anymore.
Yeah.
So should we start off with some comments? We got a couple comments on the video with some hot questions.
Sure.
I got a question for you coming in hot from Amber Marie.
Hey, Amber.
Hey, Amber. Thanks for listening. Thanks for commenting. She says, so I don't like scary/horror movies. My favorites, they are not. A little nice Yoda
like
action.
That.
Yeah.
My favorites, they are not.
My first introduction was whenever I was 10 and I watched The Thing.
Yeah.
That's too young.
That can mess you up at 10 years old, for
that
sure.
can mess you up. You can guess how that freaked me out. Yes, that's too young.
Yeah.
At 20, my friend suggested The Shining. Good suggestion.
It's a good suggestion.
You're 20 now. That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, you're old enough for The Shining.
So I haven't watched a movie like those in about 10 years. Now I'm 30 and adulting and wondering if you guys can suggest a movie or maybe a TV show.
Mm-hmm.
Also, because I don't really pay too much attention to anything that's not PG rated, what's the breakdown of horror and suspense movies? Do they have to be about a murdering crazy person to be a horror movie, or is that a murder movie? Is there such a thing as a murder movie? I'll stop asking questions.
Okay.
All of those are good questions.
Thank you, Amber.
Let's do a quick breakdown of the horror suspense thriller genre.
I mean, I think that you can definitely get into some more suspenseful movies. I'm not a big gore person. I'm not a big horror person per se. But I like a good suspenseful movie.
I love suspenseful movies. To be specific, I love psychological thrillers.
Okay.
That's my jam.
Sure.
So if she has several questions. So right now, let's answer the first one she asked.
Yeah.
Now that I'm 30 and adulting, I'm wondering if you can suggest a movie or a TV show in that vein.
Yeah. I mean, I think that there are, especially in recent years, there are a lot of kind of suspense movies that are kind of an on-ramp. They're not super crazy suspenseful. It's not a person with an axe just terrorizing people.
It's not a gore fest, not like a ripping your guts out of your body for fun because I'm deranged.
Yeah.
It's a good suspense. So what's your recommendation?
I mean, I think A Quiet Place would be a good place to start.
It would be. It's a monster movie. It's not gory. It's not keep you up at night, but it's going to make you,
it's pretty intense.
Edge of your seat suspense.
I think another good thriller that's not like gory but is a great suspenseful movie is Shutter Island.
Hey. Yeah, that's
That's kind of what you're getting at by the psychological thriller.
Psychological thrillers have it's a weak spot in my heart.
Yeah.
I
Zodiac.
love Shutter Island, Zodiac. I love
Seven.
Yeah, any David Fincher movie, really.
Right. Yeah. Any David Fincher. Any David Fincher movie.
Yeah, any David Fincher movie. I would suggest watching. But I personally, to get you into I'm not a huge fan of horror. Just so you know, I'm going to cut this out too. Most of my horror movies are right beside Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have a whole lot.
I don't have a whole lot. So I don't own a lot of horror movies because I'm not a huge horror fan. I really like suspenseful psychological thrillers. Another David Fincher movies like Gone Girl. I like thrillers. I like psychological thrillers.
And I think that's a good place to send Amber. Not
it is
into the trenches, into the scary stuff.
Right.
Not go watch Friday the 13th because, like you said, you don't like horror movies, and that's okay.
If there is a murder, there is a huge difference between horror movies and murder movies.
Yes.
Right. So there's like horror movies. When you think horror, you think Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street, which I would suggest a good classic Nightmare on Elm Street.
But here's the question that we need to ask Amber is, do you want to like horror movies?
That's true.
You know, because if it's something where it's like, I'm 30, I'm adulting, what do you suggest? I suggest if you, based on your track record from 10 years old to 20 years old to now 30 years old, if you just haven't really vibed with scary horror movies, maybe you just don't like them.
Maybe you don't.
And that's okay.
But
we can suggest more thriller movies, more suspense movies that aren't scary, that aren't bloody, that aren't, you know, that far on that side of the spectrum.
What's cool about this is that you're now 30.
Right.
And right now, murder movies are dope. Because right now, murder movies are psychological thrillers.
Right.
You've got Zodiac. You've got Prisoners. Prisoners with Hugh Jackman is one of my all-time favorite movies. It's Hugh Jackman. It's Jake Gyllenhaal. It's the original roadie. What's his name? Oh, man. It's Rhodey from Iron Man 1. I can't think of his name.
Terrence Howard.
Yes.
I didn't even look it up, by the way.
Good job. Terrence Howard.
Right in the brain.
Some of career-making performances from all three of them. Like, it's about Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman and Terrence Howard's, their daughters get kidnapped. And it's about the Jake Gyllenhaal is a detective, and Hugh Jackman is just a father who's pushed to his limit, and his daughter's been kidnapped, and he's going over the edge and defining how far would you go to rescue your daughter, you know? And it's going to have you on the edge of your seat. It's so thrilling that it could be considered like horror, you know, because it's so horror and thrillers are the same in the fact that they make you uneasy, right? So you have to pick which avenue you want to feel uneasy with. Do you want to feel uneasy because someone's getting their head sawed off in the horror genre, or do you want to feel uneasy that that a father is looking for his daughter and he can't find her? You know, you watch a thriller or a horror movie to feel uneasy, to escape your ordinary, right? So I would recommend more of the thrilling side, and if eventually you want to venture into the horror side, that's a good avenue to take.
Yeah, you can. But I mean, like I said, if you just up until this point, you know, you lived 30 years of your life and just haven't liked horror movies, then that's okay, you know. But there are some good.
Get Out, maybe. Get Out is a good thriller.
Get Out's a good thriller. It does have some. It does. I don't want to spoil it.
I know.
I don't want to spoil it for Amber just in case she watches it.
So, the thriller direction, I would recommend maybe. I would definitely recommend Prisoners. Start with Prisoners. I would say that. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I would recommend something like Prisoners. I would recommend, like I said, something like Shutter Island.
Shutter Island is also an excellent choice. Martin Scorsese, Leonardo DiCaprio, Mark Ruffalo. Just name
it's a great cast, and it's got great twists and turns. It's more of a noir movie.
Yeah. So those are your thriller sides. As for horror, if you're gonna branch into horror, maybe the comedy route, maybe Shaun of the Dead at the beginning,
that's a good Zombieland. Yeah, that's a good direction to go, just to keep it fun and still kind of segue your way into something. Would be something like The Dead Don't Die.
Yeah, exactly. We talked about that very early on. I saw it on a plane and I absolutely loved it. You thought it was just fine.
I thought it was just fine at my house.
Yeah, it was just fine. It's movies. The Dead Don't Die might be on the very edge of horror because it's got horrific things in it. It's a zombie movie, but also it's like very dry. It's very. If you like those movies, you'll like it. So I would suggest more of a route of
Zombieland.
Shaun of the Dead is like top tier comedy horror. You know.
Yeah.
So I would suggest maybe give Shaun of the Dead a watch, and if you want to venture in, then email us. Yeah. We'll give you more suggestions just privately.
I guess let us know if you get the time to watch some of those movies and you think, you know what, I think I'm ready for the next thing in my journey in movie watching. Then we'll try to guide you in the next step. But definitely starting with something more on the thriller route, I think would be great.
Because you have more fun on that route. You know, personally, if somebody was outside of the horror or thriller genre and just wants that uneasy feeling, because at the end of the day, that's why you watch those movies. You want to be thrilled.
Yeah.
I would suggest more the thriller route because those have the better movies. Yeah. You know, as a whole, there are some horror gems. Would you suggest any different horror or thriller routes to take?
No, and I mean, I think just strictly from like on a budget movie, like a Netflix, like, hey, I can't go buy these movies or rent these movies. it's not. This isn't the best movie, but it kind of starts moving in that suspense direction as a movie like Bird Box or A Quiet Place.
Yeah, sure.
That kind of isn't horror, but it's just intense and suspense. They're not the best movies ever, but they're fun to watch.
Absolutely.
And so I would say go that route. Yeah. Maybe go that route first. Watch A Quiet Place.
Totally.
Even a movie like maybe like Brightburn.
Brightburn's not bad.
Brightburn's not bad.
It would be if you like Marvel movies or something like that, or DC movies. It's more of an organic way to get into the thriller or horror.
So Brightburn's a little bit more of like a what if scenario, where what if Superman were evil instead of good. So that's basically what Brightburn is. And it ends up getting pretty intense and pretty
dark. It's got some
pretty dark,
pretty good body horror stuff in it.
Yeah. But I would start with something like A Quiet Place, personally. See if you like that, and then move into, like you said, like a Prisoners or something like that.
Yeah, and it's such a broad category, right?
It is broad.
Because you've got psychological thrillers, you've got
suspense.
monsters, like monster movies like A Quiet Place. And then you've got suspense, and then you've got horror, and then you've got like body horror, and then you've got all these different things.
It depends on what you like.
Yeah, if you like, The Shining is probably the most furthest thing into horror that a psychological thriller can be.
Yeah,
it's so psychologically horrific that it could be a horror movie.
Yeah.
And then same with The Thing. It's so bodily, like it's body horror to its T. Like whenever the thing is melting off and the guy's head is just coming off and turning into a monster. That's body horror to its T.
And then right down the middle is like Saw.
Yeah. Right. It's not psychological, but it's body horror for sure,
Yeah.
The original Saw, at least. Then the sequels are just straight up body horror.
Yeah.
But I hope that answered your questions. I feel like we gave
let
you
us know. Yeah, let us know if you get to watch some of those movies. We'd love to hear back from you.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, we had another comment. You want to? Well,
sure. I can read it.
Oh, yeah, you read it.
Since
totally, you read it.
Yeah, we got a comment from Danny Hunter on our YouTube channel. Danny said, HBO is known for their top tier shows. What 80s movie would make the best dramatic / dark HBO series? Something that is beloved from the 80s but could use a good 21st century helping of acting, visuals, and storytelling. I love this question.
It's such a good question.
This is a great question, Danny.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you think, Braden? An HBO
honestly,
series.
if we're talking about an HBO series, I'm thinking of like Game of Thrones level storytelling, right? Game of Thrones is a periodic drama, sure, but the storytelling, at least the first couple seasons, most of the series is surpassed by none, right?
Right.
And then you think of like miniseries, I think of The Night Of, which is, hey, Amber, if you're still listening, that's a great series to hop on if you've got HBO, is The Night Of. It's like a murder mystery, like a serial kind of thing.
Yeah.
If I'm thinking storytelling-wise, I would say something like maybe The Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
If I'm thinking like visual dark-wise, I'm thinking maybe like...
I pulled up a list just to see if there was anything. I had a movie come to mind that might be cool.
Okay.
Which would be Stand By Me.
I thought about Stand By Me.
Stand By Me was a great
coming of age story.
Like it could be a cool miniseries if they got the right cast.
Absolutely.
And they could make it a little bit more. They could dive a little deeper into the kids' individual kind of lives and stuff. Yeah. I thought too, like a dark Ferris Bueller would be kind of cool.
What would a dark Ferris Bueller be? Because he just skipped school.
Well, it starts with him skipping school, right?
Sure.
Like the first episode is him and Sloane and Cameron skipping school, right? But then something happens, right? The whole movie happens in the first episode.
Okay.
But then when Cameron like gets mad and kicks his dad's car and it goes out the window, it like kills someone.
What if it
and then it gets dark like Riverdale.
What if
but better, obviously.
So Cameron is Cameron is scared of his dad.
Right.
He spends the whole movie scared of what his dad is going to say.
Right.
So maybe he thinks he's just a super ordinary, strict dad, and he's kicking his...
But he's not.
He's kicking his Ferrari, right?
Right.
The whole movie happens. He's kicking his Ferrari, and then it goes out the window, right? And then the building is destroyed. But then it goes through the whole movie up until that point, and then they're like, well, I don't mind. I'm gonna take credit for this. I'm gonna be the one getting in trouble.
Yeah.
And then they hear like down, like across the room, right? And so then they go and investigate. And whenever the Ferrari took off through the window, it tore down part of a wall. And then there's a secret staircase. And he goes downstairs, and his father is a serial killer.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. What if his father was never there to begin with? He killed his dad a long time ago.
What if
he's the serial killer?
Hey.
That's the
Now
end
we're
of the
cooking.
series. That's the end. You think his dad is a serial killer the whole time, but really it was
sure.
Cameron the whole time.
Now that's a series.
Now that's a Ferris Bueller series.
You can even keep the fourth wall breaking of like Ferris through the first 2 episodes of the movie is breaking the fourth wall. Is like, now Cameron's really got to stick up his butt and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then
Cameron always acts like he's
the,
sick, but he's staying home from school, cleaning blood off of his clothes.
Or he's got a split personality.
He doesn't even know.
He's at war in his mind, like I'm a murderer and I'm just a regular teenage boy.
Yeah.
You know? What if hey, we're on to something big.
Yeah. What would we call this show Ferris Bueller's Day Off? Or just Day Off?
Or just Day Off? We should just call it Bueller.
Or just call it Bueller.
Just call it Bueller with a period.
That's pretty good.
That's not bad.
That's pretty good.
That's not bad.
What about a Lost Boys show? I feel like that would warrant that could warrant like an HBO style show.
Maybe even bring back vampires into the modern day, you know?
Yeah.
Like vampires were all the rage 10 years ago.
But cool biker vampires like Lost Boys.
Should we bring back Kiefer Sutherland?
No.
Keep him out of here.
Keep him out.
Get him out of here.
I'm sorry. Don't bring back anybody. Don't, because they tried that. Remember they made just 5 years ago they made a Lost Boys sequel with what's his name? It's
the kid from like the Goonies.
What's his name? Corey Feldman.
Yes.
They made like a remake with Corey Feldman where he was kind of like this hero. He had like a headband, but it was just corny. It would be cool to see like a Lost Boys style.
I feel like they made a bunch of direct-to-DVD sequels of the 80s movies, didn't they?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so if I'm thinking of other...
I like the idea of taking a movie from the 80s that wasn't kind of a dark and gritty movie and turning it into something.
What if it's Airplane, but there's a terrorist on the airplane? Named Shirley. We're bringing it back.
What about Neverending Story?
It's pretty dark and gritty to begin with.
Series could be really good.
Now we're talking. That I think is that is the real answer, I believe. Like, we had some fun with Ferris Bueller. The Lost Boys is a pretty good idea. I think the Neverending Story is up there in great ideas.
And it has one of the saddest scenes of any movie ever.
You wouldn't have to make it that much darker or grittier because all of the stuff that takes place in is there a name of the world that it takes place in?
Yes.
Is it like Storybook Land?
No.
Storybrook?
No. It's not that.
I'm
gonna play the saddest scene from the movie.
Everyone knew that whoever let the sadness overtake him would sink into the swamp.
Yeah. Jacob Tremblay is the kid who's reading the story.
Yes.
Hollywood's hottest boy. Yes. Honestly, this music has come back into style now.
This whole scene is great.
Yeah.
Come on, Artex.
Oh. It's the swamp of sadness, right?
Yeah.
Look at that horse's acting. It's just like...
What's the matter?
This made me cry as a kid.
Oh, it made me cry too, man. There's something about like even Lord of the Rings, like when the horses die, it's just sad. And this one was like slow and like...
Yeah, What's
the matter? Artex.
I understand.
You tired?
Oh, Artex. Oh, Artex.
He's sinking.
I want to turn it off.
Artex, you're sinking.
You're sinking. This.
Oh. Oh no!
Come on, Artex.
Oh, it's awful. What are you doing? Fight against the sadness.
Look at the tears.
The sadness of the swamps get to you.
Don't let the sadness of the swamps get to you.
Oh, Artex.
For me.
Oh my gosh.
Bro.
Look, just his head.
Artax!
Artax! No!
Oh God, Artax! Oh, bro, for real though, I'm
This
feeling
is
it.
awful.
I'm feeling it.
I won't give up. That's all. That's where the scene ended for us.
Honestly, that's a Podzilla episode ruiner. Where do we go from here?
Where do you go from there, man? That's heavy.
But honestly,
That would be a great HBO miniseries or series.
Even a series, because they had
Never-ending
bad
story.
sequels.
The never-ending story.
I'm gonna say,
Bring
that's
that
a
sucker
staple.
back. That's a great one.
Okay, to lift spirits, what's the dragon's name? The luck dragon.
Falcor.
Falcor. Who would voice Falcor? Bryan Cranston?
Oh, Bryan Cranston would
That's
be
not
pretty
bad.
good. That's
That's
a
not
pretty
bad.
good first pull, man.
That's not bad.
Or Liam Neeson.
I'm thinking of the voice, and honestly, Bryan
I
Cranston.
think they could change up the voice and make it a little bit more like not goofy because
right, which I'm thinking
Falcor's kind of got a goofy
he
voice.
does, but we're making a dark, gritty. Like, I'm thinking it's still a kids series, but it's dark and gritty, and it loses the campiness, right?
Yeah.
Except that scene's not campy at all. That scene just ruined my day.
That scene is sad, man.
Yeah.
To put in the middle of a kids movie.
Look, you listen to this podcast on Fridays to take you out of the week on a good note. We gotta bring it back.
Yeah.
We answered the question, and it's a great answer. But we got
Never-ending story.
We gotta bring it back. I'm feeling real low.
Never-ending story, Danny.
Yeah.
Or Bueller. We gave our pitch for Bueller.
Let us
Those
know.
are our top two.
Let us know in the comments below. Anybody, not just Danny.
The only other one that I could think might be really cool recreated would be Labyrinth.
Yeah.
Because Netflix has revitalized, like the Dark Crystal kind of stuff, and Labyrinth is really good.
Is it going to be the same without David Bowie?
That's what I'm saying. Is who would play that character if not David Bowie?
Who's a charismatic?
Originally Michael Jackson wanted to play the Goblin King.
What didn't Michael Jackson want to be?
He wanted
in?
to be Spider-Man. He just wanted something.
He wanted to be Hollywood.
Poor guy.
Poor guy.
But
never got anything.
The reason that The Labyrinth would never get a remake is because of David Bowie.
It's got to be because there's no.
Because it's a cool story. It's a cool idea.
Is there a I don't know what to call David Bowie. Is he a pop star or a rock star? He's in the middle.
He's both, man.
He's just a star.
He's a star.
Is there a Ziggy Stardust of the modern age? What if it was the modern age? What if you threw Post Malone as the Goblin King?
Oh no!
He's just throwing Bud Lights to everybody,
Post
baby.
Malone, not Post Malone. I don't know. That's hard.
It's hard.
David Bowie's an
David
icon,
Bowie
man.
is David Bowie. Maybe hey, Lenny Kravitz. What if you get Lenny Kravitz?
That'd be pretty cool.
I'm thinking he's in that same era, but he's older now, out of the game. But does he still have swagger?
He does, man. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Lenny Kravitz would be if David Bowie was the Goblin King, he'd be like the Goblin President. The Goblin President.
Yeah.
Because maybe I don't remember the ending of Labyrinth. Did David Bowie die?
No, I don't think so.
Then maybe
I don't think he died.
Would you feel comfortable with the CGI recreation of David Bowie? Because that's all
nobody wants that. Nobody wants that.
Yeah. What movie are they doing with? They're bringing Steve McQueen back for a movie, completely CGI version of Steve McQueen
for a whole movie.
For a whole movie that has nothing to do with Steve McQueen. They just wanted Steve McQueen in the role.
No, but see, that's the thing is I don't think there's anybody right now that has the swagger that David Bowie has.
There's not.
Or what if you went younger and went with a Timothée Chalamet?
He's not a pop star or a rock star.
He doesn't have to be though,
that.
because this is a dark reboot. There doesn't have to be any song and dance to it. It can just be the Labyrinth.
If I'm not a huge Labyrinth fan. I came into it too late. I'm not a big Muppets guy, but Johnny, who we had on the show, your brother,
right?
He showed it to me. It was fine. And I understand, if you grew up on it, it's a staple for sure. No doubt. I'm not taking anything away from it. I'm just saying I came into it too late. But asking you, who did grow up on it, if you put somebody in, like Timothée Chalamet, who's not a rock pop star,
right?
Who doesn't have musical ability as far as we know, he's Timothée Chalamet.
He's playing Bob Dylan in the new Bob Dylan movie.
Well, there you go. If you take the song and dance out of a Labyrinth remake, will it be the Labyrinth?
Yeah.
It would?
Yeah, because it's the characters, man.
Yeah, but you don't get the Goblin King
The
song.
only song and dance came from David Bowie in the movie.
Really?
Yeah.
I swear there was more dancing.
No.
No? Huh.
That was the only song and dance. But I'm saying if they recreated like Ludo, that big monster,
Yeah.
with like
Voiced by Luda?
no. But I'm saying if they brought back the characters in the story and just made it a little more gritty, a little darker, maybe it's not a Henson thing. Maybe it's just it's kind of more of a Guillermo del Toro kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
That's not bad. Guillermo
Take
can make a good
I'm
one.
saying if it's an HBO series, I'm saying I love the Henson Corporation. I love the Muppets. I love the Labyrinth as it was. But I'm saying if we're recreating this, I'm saying recreate the story, not the look necessarily. I love the characters, but I'm saying
So no puppets?
maybe no puppets.
It's like CGI creatures.
Maybe. Or maybe some are.
That's a bold adaptation.
Maybe some are puppets. Maybe some are, like the child, like in The Mandalorian, like that's a puppet and it works. Like maybe some characters do still have, realistic puppet elements to them, like the Hoggle character or the Ludo character. But then some of it's more of I think the stylistic look could still draw inspiration from Labyrinth, but have more of a, like a fantasy element that's not just Henson. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like if you go that route, you would lose the base core of the fans, right? And that's what's going to drive you, maybe? Because like me, who doesn't really have an attachment to it, I've seen it, but I don't have that childhood attachment, right?
Right, but
I don't have that Iron Giant attachment to it.
Right, but I'm saying if you watched this new version that you don't have any attachment to, you'd probably like it.
I would enjoy it, yeah.
You'd probably like it.
I would. I definitely would. But I'm saying that movie is so beloved.
I think people
By
would
a
get
fan
on
base?
board. I think people would. I
feel like if you remake a Henson property without the puppets,
maybe
it would
I'm
lose
wrong.
it.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, and I'm okay with being wrong. But I'm saying I'm a fan that
In
grew
your
up with it.
opinion, yeah.
I grew up with it, and I loved it. And
Yeah.
this is my idea.
Totally,
Like,
yeah.
and I'm not dunking on the original Labyrinth. I'm just saying, like, instead of trying to recreate that magic, let's make new magic with the same storyline and
21st century magic.
similar characters or the same characters, but kind of giving it a little bit more drama and giving it a little bit more action.
I'm for it, yeah.
And making it a little bit more adult even, and not as, ages 8 to 12, I don't know. I think it could be a cool remake, and especially because then you can find an actor who has swagger but isn't a musician.
So it's Timothy Chalamet. If we're getting out of the puppet / one musical number.
I was just using him as an example of like like someone who has like a certain kind of vibe, that kind of cool guy vibe.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
that was cool.
Or Harry Styles, if you want the musical thing.
Honestly,
Harry Styles would be a pretty cool.
He's no David Bowie, but
he's no David Bowie, but I'm saying he could have that.
And also, he was really good in Dunkirk, right?
Yeah, he could have that vibe.
He totally could. All right. Should we move on to the actual topic?
Sure. This is what they came here for.
Yeah, this is a special. It's a 20th episode.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, 20 weeks. 20 episodes of Podzilla. That's pretty big.
That's 5 months, man.
We started back in September of 2019.
We missed a couple weeks, right? We missed
3 weeks. But honestly, we've missed 3 weeks out of 20. Not the worst ratio.
Not the worst.
Not the worst.
No, still a passing grade.
Still a passing grade, absolutely. We're all about just getting just a passing grade.
Yeah.
Leave us a 5-star review by all means.
Yes, please.
But we're all about that. We're just passing.
Yeah, cool.
But we wanted to do something fun for the 20th episode. We wanted to do something that let you guys get to know us a little bit better.
Yep.
So, what are we doing for this big 20th episode?
We kind of just wanted to talk about the movies that made us movie lovers.
Yeah.
The movies, whether it was recent or not so recent, the movies that kind of made us the fanatics that we are now, because I've always, since I was a kid, like probably from the age of 6 to 12, I wanted to be a movie director. Like that was the career I wanted.
I wanted to write movies. I remember specifically in my mind, once a month, my dad would take my sisters out to a dinner and a movie, or a dinner and bowling. They were mainly like dinner, bowling, dinner, and something else. But me and my mom, bless her heart, it was a dinner and a movie every single month. It had to be a dinner and a movie because that was your thing. I just loved movies. And I specifically remember one day we were sitting on the patio of a Starbucks that has henceforth been closed. And she was talking to me because I would never shut up about movies. Yeah. Every dinner, every car ride, every car rider line we would wait in, I would talk about movies. And she was a champ because she's not a movie gal. She wasn't, at least. She is more now, but she wasn't a movie gal. And I would never shut up about movies. So finally, one fateful date, she was like, could you ever see yourself writing a movie? And I was like, totally. She said, you can write a screenplay and all that stuff. I said, yes. She said, how long would that take you? I said, by the end of the date. And so she went and took me to see Transformers that night.
And you wrote Transformers.
No, this is actually a pretty good segue into the actual conversation that I didn't plan. But when I saw the movie Transformers, I had never seen visual effects like that. Love or hate the Transformers movies. The original Transformers movie, when they're at the military base and the helicopter transforms for the very first time. Yeah. Back in 2007, I got so excited. I had to go to the bathroom and throw up, and my mom had to take me home.
Out of excitement, you missed the rest of Transformers?
I missed it. We had to go. We got a refund. We got a ticket stub that said you can come back and see the movie again.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, so
you weren't even sick. You were just excited.
I never finished the screenplay. My mom forgot all about it. I got out of it because I said that and I was like, I have no ideas. I have no ideas. But we got to the movie theater, and at that first scene where in the military base, I got so excited when that helicopter stood up and transformed. I went to the bathroom, got sick, got back to my mom. She asked if I got sick. I said yes. And we got refund tickets, went home, and then went back the next week with my family because I was so excited when I saw that Transformer get up. Yeah. I threw up.
Wow. Has that happened since then?
No.
Wow.
And so forever, the only movie that has made me so excited and blown my mind so much will always be Michael Bay's Transformers.
I've never thrown up during a movie, but that's amazing.
That's my biggest story.
That's amazing.
I forgot all about it until just now.
That's craziness.
And I know my mom is listening right now, maybe 4 or 5 weeks
So what's
late.
your screenplay then?
Bro, I got too excited about Transformers. Now all I want to do is watch Transformers.
So that's when you transformed from a movie writer to a movie critic.
That's
in
it.
That moment. But the opposite of you being a critic for movies is that when a movie makes you want to throw up, it's a good thing.
And now it's
not
a good
bad thing.
Yeah. Every time I see I don't know. There's never been a movie.
There's never been a movie since then that has excited you like Transformers has.
There's never been a movie that's made me throw up. So, in my opinion, Transformers 2007 is the best movie that has ever been made.
That is Braden's opinion. And not the opinion of the podcast or those involved in the podcast. That is Braden's sole opinion.
Yeah. That's not my opinion.
Cool. That's cool.
That's not my opinion, but that's a fun story.
That is a fun story. So that's one of the movies that made you a movie lover.
It's got to be. It's got to be.
That's amazing.
It might be the top one out of all of the cinematic classics, all of the staples of Hollywood. Yeah, it's Michael Bay's Transformers 2007, starring Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox.
I think I don't have any like movies that came out around the time. I grew up on like a lot of movies that my dad just showed me, like that we just had at the house, that I could just watch over and over and over and over again. The first movie that comes to mind, similar to your story, is I remember in my grandma's house in Fort Lauderdale.
That's Florida for all of our geometrical.
Yes, my grandmother lived in Fort Lauderdale. She lived in a pink house on the corner, on a street corner. She had a pool. She had a movie room. But my family, the first 5 years of my life, my family was on the road traveling.
Sure.
And so whenever we came, quote unquote, came home, my parents and me and my sister and my brother lived with my grandparents because we lived on the road. They were doing full-time, evangelism.
Right.
And we just grew up in a van watching movies in the back.
Is that what evangelism means? Is
you evangelism.
You grow up in a van?
Yes.
Okay.
For
now
us,
I know. I've always wondered.
For us, it did. So there are a couple things that I remember. One being, I remember being in the back room of my grandmother's house. She had like a 2 or 3 bedroom house, and the back room was like our room.
Okay.
And in the closet, it had like the French doors that open up, and there was like a TV in the closet. Like a little tiny VHS in the front TV.
Absolutely. I remember those very well.
And I remember watching Jurassic Park on that little TV. Like I remember the black VHS like cassette tape sleeve that slides in the bottom. I remember watching Jurassic Park. At some point, I watched that movie like in the span of us being at my grandma's house for a week or whatever. I probably watched that movie 5 times.
That's awesome.
And I was little.
Yeah, that's a big movie to watch.
I was little.
That's a big
movie. And I loved it. And I watched it over and over again.
Yeah. That's a magical movie.
And I remember sitting there with I was old enough to read, so maybe I was a little bit older. Maybe I was like 8.
I'm not going to sue you if you're wrong.
I was older because I was old enough to read. Because I remember sitting there and reading the on the cover. It's the black. It's black, and it has the Jurassic Park emblem with the T-Rex on it. It says Jurassic Park.
It in my mind.
And then underneath it says a Steven Spielberg film. And I remember reading that and being like, I want to be like Steven Spielberg.
Oh, so that's what inspired you to want to direct.
And Steven Spielberg was then from that moment pretty much on, at least until I don't think I have a favorite director now, but like he was my favorite director through my adolescence. Once I discovered Raiders of the Lost Ark, it was a game changer.
It's a game over moment.
It was a complete game changer. Raiders of the Lost Ark completely changed my life. I collected Indiana Jones stuff. I had Raiders of the Lost Ark I had Indiana Jones themed birthday parties.
How dope. You told us a story about cracking the bottom of your foot with the whip.
I bought a whip off eBay.
Yeah.
I had the fedora.
Yes, you did.
I had the full Indiana Jones. I was obsessed with Indiana Jones. I have boxes at my house, probably 4 or 5 boxes. I'm going to bring them for an episode.
I would love to see it.
I have a collection of just Indiana Jones stuff.
So
toys.
Cool. There's a substantial lack of Indiana Jones in the studio. We need to change.
Yeah, I'll bring my Indiana Jones stuff. I mean, fedoras, whips, everything, toys. Like especially, and then Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull came out when I don't know how old I was. Probably.
I distinctly remember seeing it in the theaters.
What year did that come out? 2007?
Maybe
2008.
It was probably 2009, 2010 because Shia LaBeouf.
Okay, it's 2008.
Okay, yeah, Shia LaBeuf had already been in Transformers.
So I was a little bit older. I think I was like 13 or 14 when that movie came out. I think I was 14.
Yeah, I remember seeing it because
it came out in May. It came out like beginning of summer because me and my dad went and saw that back at midnight on a Thursday night, and I had my 6th grade finals the next morning.
That's amazing.
Me and my dad went and watched Kingdom of the Crystal Skull at midnight. I got home at 2 a.m, woke up, went to school, and did my final exams before summer.
Honestly, whenever I went to see the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, I was young as well. My grandfather used to take us on one big trip. Once a summer, we would go to Atlanta Braves games, or we would go see on this specific day, we went out into the middle of a field in the middle of nowhere. If you held a gun to my head, I couldn't tell you where it was. Mm-hmm. But we were watching the Blue Angels practice, the Air Force like elite team. I'm sure they serve a military purpose, but as far as I know, they just do shows, right? They're like trick flyers. Mm-hmm. And he would take me and my sisters and I. Well, it was really just my older sister. My younger sister was too young. It was my sister and I, and then 2 of my cousins. And we watched the Blue Angels, and it was a ton of fun. And then he was like, well, what do you guys want to do now? And my cousin and I, we were begging to see Indiana Jones. So he took us to see it. I loved it. And then we were so excited to see about movies in general, because at the time I loved it. I loved the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull when I first saw it.
Right.
we went to see Cowboys and Aliens directly after that, and I also loved it. So that tells you the mindset I was in.
Yeah, just a lover boy.
A year before, I threw up in Transformers. A year later, I got so excited about Kingdom of the Crystal Skull that I loved Cowboys and Aliens.
Right. I mean, yeah.
What?
So anyway, I say all that to say, when Kingdom of the Crystal Skull came out, I collected Indiana Jones merchandise.
Yeah.
So all of the toys from that movie, I have, and they're all in their original boxes.
That's incredible.
Like I have like 5 boxes of just Kingdom of the Crystal Skull toys.
I have to. I've never seen a Kingdom of the Crystal Skull toy. I have to see these.
I'm serious.
You have to bring them.
I'm serious, and like I loved I loved Raiders.
Do you have a mutt?
I do. Yeah.
I have to see it.
I have all of them.
I'm begging.
I have a Marion. I have a Marion Ravenwood toy.
An old Marion?
Yes, from the movie.
I have to see it.
Mac, you know Mac, like
Yes,
the
I know
guy.
Mac.
I have a toy of him.
I have to see it.
I have toys. I think I have like Happy Meal stuff that they gave away. I have like the toy whip that came out that year.
Wow.
Still all in the original packaging.
I have to see all of it. You have to bring it very soon. Very soon.
That's how much of a fanatic I was solely about Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
I still to this day, I think if you asked my sister, my brother, my mom, if you asked maybe Heather, if you asked my wife, if you asked anyone who's known me since I was a kid, like my cousins or anybody, if you said, what is David's all-time favorite movie, they would tell you
it's Raiders of the
Lost Ark.
I distinctly, this is my other Indiana Jones memory, is I distinctly remember.
Oh, I have a good Indiana Jones memory too after yours.
We can call this the Indiana Jones memory episode. I'm all good with it. We spent all day, I helped, in quotation marks for our audio listeners, I helped my dad build a deck all day, stain a deck, precisely.
You supervised.
Really, what I did was smash my Hot Wheels with a hammer because I just gotten a Hot Wheel monster truck and I was making them dry over.
Oh, cool.
And I begged my mom to go to Movie Gallery, R.I.P. Let's pour one out for our homie.
Rest in peace, Movie Gallery.
I begged my mom to go rent. I couldn't remember what it was called. I couldn't remember which one it was. I begged her to rent the Indiana Jones movie where he ran from the boulder.
Raiders.
It's Raiders.
Yeah, it's the first 5 minutes.
It's the most iconic to me. It is the most iconic scene from
the whole opening scene. Absolutely,
it's the most iconic scene of all time.
Yeah,
personally, in my mind,
I agree.
I mean, whenever when you
think about Hollywood magic movie,
no introduction. That's Indiana Jones. It is a man who's being just rad, just dodging traps, stealing a golden idol, running from a large boulder, while getting betrayed and getting away with the treasure. You know. So that to me was like that
whole exchange. Give me the whip. Throw me the idol.
Yeah.
He throws him the idol. No, give me the whip. Adios, senor.
Yep.
Anyway.
Anyways, we're gonna watch Indiana Jones after this podcast.
Epic.
Yes. So that is what I wanted to see. That's all I wanted to see. My mom, bless her heart, remember I said, when I was growing up, she wasn't a movie lover. She rented The Last Crusade.
Oh well.
Well, great movie.
Great movie, but not the boulder movie. Were you waiting for the boulder the whole time?
I wanted to see the boulder the whole time, and then it started out, and it's young Indiana Jones, and he's.
It's a great opening.
It is a great
River Phoenix, dude.
It is as great of an opening, just less iconic, because you got to think you think Indiana Jones, first thing boulder.
They all have great openings, man.
All of them do. Yeah, Club Obi-Wan, freaking. So good.
Awesome. When he's running behind the gong.
So good.
Shooting the machine gun at it. Oh.
We're going to watch all 3 tonight.
Yeah.
Notice I said 3, not 4.
Yeah.
Anyways, I was waiting for it. And obviously,
it never came.
Obviously, she didn't screw up because that was still a great fun night because we got to watch The Last Crusade, an equal movie. Yeah. But as a child, all I wanted to see was that boulder.
Yeah.
So she had to go rent it again the next day. She had to return it and go rent Raiders. Yeah. Anyways,
this is good because it's one for Temple of Doom.
Awesome. I love Temple of Doom. Underrated sequel. Yeah.
So when I was probably, let me think. So we went on vacation. My family went on vacation and we went and stayed in a lake house. I was probably 13.
Yeah.
And my brother's, I guess, 11 or 12.
Yeah.
And we, at this lake house, they had like a movie theater room downstairs.
Oh,
like
yeah.
huge screen, recliners, and they had on widescreen, on DVD, because there wasn't Blu-ray yet at the time,
Yeah.
the Indiana Jones pack, like the 3 movies in the pack on DVD.
Yeah.
And I watched Indiana Jones movies every night, 2 of them a night. Like I would stay
2.
up, 2 Indian. So like 4 hours of the night, I would stay up till like 3 a.m. Anyway, one night, me and my brother watched, Temple of Doom.
Sure.
And at the end of Temple of Doom, Johnny was so scared that he made me put on Cheaper by the Dozen, and he made us watch Cheaper by the Dozen
Not
after
bad.
watching Temple of Doom.
Not bad.
So that he wouldn't have nightmares. So I ended
How
up getting a
sweet.
double feature of Harrison Ford and then Steve Martin instead. So it's
Harrison Ford, Steve Martin.
I think I had a dream that night that Steve Martin was Indiana Jones. And it was awful.
That's an SNL skit waiting
That's
to happen.
awful. Hold on, I'm fixing my mic again.
Listen to that squeak. Look, that's the squeak of privilege. Because we have mic stand.
Still trying to get used to him.
What if Indiana Jones 5 is Indiana Jones and the squeak of privilege?
And the squeak of privilege. What is it going to be, man? Harrison Ford's not like, he was slowing down in 2008.
Yeah, he was pumping the
Indiana
brakes.
Jones.
Yeah. I don't know if they're going to do like because they start filming. He said they start filming in 2 months, but that was a couple weeks ago. So they probably start filming
But
over a month.
Steven Spielberg stepped down as director as of really the day we're recording this.
Yeah. I have no clue. Maybe it's going to be like him thinking back on his life when we get a CGI de-aged version. But I know for a fact that Harrison Ford, this is the one role where he's like,
no one's playing Indiana Jones.
Yeah, no one is going to be.
Yeah, because there was an interview where someone was like, who would you pick to play Indiana Jones after you? And Harrison Ford was like, Indiana Jones will die with me. He's like, he literally said, don't you get it?
Yeah.
I am Indiana Jones.
He could give 2 craps about Han Solo or Star Wars in general.
Yeah.
Which honestly, man,
Blade Runner, who cares? He's like, I am Indiana Jones
I feel like
forever.
it is Star Wars at the very bottom. Could care less.
Yeah.
It's a paycheck to him.
Yeah.
And he's Harrison Ford. All the respect in the world.
Yeah.
I love Star Wars. I'm not mad at that at all.
Yeah.
And then it's Blade Runner because
And
I
then
feel
it's
like
Jack Ryan. And then it's Blade Runner.
Jack Ryan. And then it's Air Force One.
Right.
And being president is a big feat. And then at the very top, miles ahead of the rest, is Indiana Jones.
Yeah. That's his like, when I go out, you remember me as Indiana
Why not?
Jones. Why freaking not?
That Indiana Jones is the most iconic action hero,
Absolutely.
most iconic adventurer.
Absolutely. More than
Like,
James Bond.
Absolutely. No contest. No contest with James Bond as an icon of Hollywood.
They had James Bond play his old man dad.
That's what they think about him.
That's what that puts it in perspective for James Bond.
Yep.
However, I would love to see like a modern Indiana Jones movie if they did it right.
A modern. Explain modern.
No, not modern, but I mean like a new retelling. I wish
Like
Harrison Ford was young again.
Oh, man!
And just with modern movie making, they made the adventure movie.
Every 60 years, Harrison Ford would just turn 20 again.
Man,
how great would that be?
awesome
Because
would
he's
that
like
be?
in his 70s, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
He's got to be in his 70s.
Every 40 years, he turns 20
Every 40
again.
years?
Yeah.
He turns 20 again and makes an Indiana Jones reboot. Same with Steven Spielberg. He turns 35 again.
Yeah.
How great would that be?
That'd be great.
We would die happy men.
I would.
I would. But yeah, so we've touched on Michael Bay is mine and Steven Spielberg is yours. So that's a great feeling to have.
But there are other movies. Like honestly,
I would say The Dark Knight for me was a big one.
Yeah.
The Dark Knight was a really big one because I remember my mom, again, she's going to love this episode because I'm keep referencing her, which is, it's super cute and also funny, but she runs a solid 5 weeks behind on the podcast.
That's awesome.
It's super sweet and super funny.
See you in 5 weeks.
Yeah. So in 5 weeks, in the middle of summer,
Right.
she'd be like, "Remember that episode?" I was like, "No, I don't remember.
I don't remember anything.
We're on episode 45 now."
Right.
But my mom, again, her all-time favorite movie is A Knight's Tale, right? With Heath Ledger.
Really?
Her all-time favorite movie.
That's interesting.
And honestly,
It's a good movie.
To me
It's fun.
personally, it's one of my staples because she loved it so much. She made me watch it so much.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I love that. I've got nothing but great memories.
Sure.
I'm not a movie critic. I'm a movie lover.
Yeah.
So she did not want us to watch The Dark Knight. because The Dark Knight killed Heath Ledger. You know, because he died before that movie came out. It was all the rage that Heath Ledger, the Joker, pushed him over the edge, and he died of an overdose due to him being the Joker. Mm-hmm. And she did not want us to see it at all because he, as far as she was concerned,
that movie was responsible for taking
The Dark Knight was responsible for killing
Sir Liechtenstein.
Ulrich von Liechtenstein. Yes, absolutely. I'm so happy you remembered it.
Oh yeah,
not just me.
Oh yeah.
So I remember I was begging my dad because I'm a Batman fanatic. Maybe not your level, but also like I'm a Batman fan.
rules.
Batman at any point at any male or even most females that are listening to this podcast has gone through a Batman phase.
Sure.
I would say that's safe to say.
Absolutely.
I was begging him to see it. Because I remember at the end of Batman Begins when he holds up the Joker card, I was so stoked.
He's got a calling card.
And, my dad was like, "They've already made the Joker movie with Michael Keaton."
Yeah,
this was the beginning of reboots, right?
Right. Yeah,
I can't blame him.
It's like, I don't get it.
Technically, they already have made that movie. Yes. But now this movie was coming out. I wanted to see it so bad. It was before I knew anything about reviews. I didn't know anything about how critically acclaimed it was. Right. Because I didn't have a phone, you know?
Yeah.
So finally, at the end of its box office run, my dad convinced my mom to go see it because it almost made as much money as the Titanic.
Right.
Because it almost did.
Yeah.
So we finally, one fateful night, went to see it, and it blew my little mind.
How old were you?
When did it come out? 2008?
Probably.
I was 11.
Somewhere around there.
I'm going to Google it.
I think it was like 2009.
The Dark Knight came out in 2008. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was 11. Yeah, man, that movie blew my mind. The not just Batman aspects of it, but storytelling and the multiple stories of it. You know, it's not Batman's story. It's not Bruce Wayne's story. It's Harvey Dent's story. It's Rachel's story. It's the Joker's story, you know?
Right.
The way that Christopher Nolan balanced all those story aspects, and you know, I can't say anything new about this movie because it's 12 years old and everything that can be said has been said.
Yeah.
But as an 11-year-old, it translates not just as a movie lover, but as just a Batman fan. Like,
totally.
I can't say anything new about it. It for me as an 11-year-old, it was the greatest movie I'd ever seen, and it lit a fire under me to just love Batman with all my heart.
Totally.
So that was a big one for me, and also it was fun to see my mom enjoy it and cry over Heath Ledger.
Right, she cried.
Yes, she did. She loved it so much, and we watched the Oscars, and he won the Oscar, and
she cried again.
She was a little.
So she just loved Heath Ledger.
She was a Heath Ledger fan through and through.
That's really cute.
It's so cute. My mom is nothing but cute, to be honest. Looking back at my childhood, all the mom stories, like I remember getting grounded over something or something like that, and looking back on it as an adult male, I was like,
yeah,
dang, my mom was so cute getting mad over that one specific thing.
Right. She's adorable. That's so funny.
But anyways, that's my next one is The Dark Knight.
That's cool. Yeah. I was gonna definitely throw Sam Raimi's Spider-Man.
Oh yeah.
For me personally.
Yeah.
That was another one that I was obsessed with.
Me too.
Was Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. And that was another one that like I watched, over and over on VHS.
Oh yeah. I haven't on VHS. No, I have Spider-Man 2.
And
where's it at?
I watched it on VHS. You have Spider-Man 2?
I have Spider-Man 2 on VHS. Hang on.
Where?
It might be in the closet outside. Keep talking. I'm listening.
He's not listening. Oh, wait. Oh, cool. Let me see this thing. So I watched Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, the first one, on VHS constantly in our playroom in a house that we lived in on Roy Drive.
Roy Drive. And I watched to our millennial or Gen Zers. It was Roy Drive is a road, not a ancient form of watching television.
No, yeah, it was where I lived at the time. But I watched this on a VHS player. Not this one, but Spider-Man, the first one.
Yeah.
This one's
Sorry, all I've got is
amazing.
Spider-Man 2.
No, and you should, honestly. I watched it until I think the tape like literally fell apart.
The VHS
I watched it
player
so
ate
much.
VHS, yeah.
And that was one of the other movies where I was like just obsessed with the movie itself.
I remember distinctly.
Anyway, and then there are other movies, honestly, that like, I mean, we're still young, right? Like, I would personally still love to be involved in making a movie.
Me too, man.
Like directing, writing. Even if this podcast for us means one day you and I write a movie and direct it, I would love to do that because I've always wanted to make movies. You know?
Absolutely. And there's something special about something as iconic, like. Maybe one day we'll have a movie, and then at the end it says directed by PODZILLA, and that's the name that me and you go by as co-directors.
But like there was, I remember when Napoleon Dynamite came out.
Really,
this was an influential movie for me.
Really,
and this is why is because Napoleon Dynamite was low budget.
Yeah,
it was made by like young guys who made just like. They were in school and they made like an original short called Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah.
That got so popular that they were then able to make a movie that was a huge, cult classic.
Yeah,
right. And that was the first time that I realized like, oh, like normal people can make movies.
Yeah.
Right. Like
that's fair.
Up until Napoleon Dynamite, I only watched like big budget Hollywood movies.
Right.
And when Napoleon Dynamite came out, it was like the light came on. Like, oh, like people can make movies.
People make movies.
Not just Steven Spielberg, not just Sam Raimi, not just George Lucas.
Yeah.
But like people, like young people, are just out there with cameras making movies.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And that kind of like that was like an awakening to me. Like, oh, like. That's actually a doable thing to make a movie.
Right.
And that was like, not that Napoleon Dynamite's an amazing movie, but you know what I'm saying? Like it was this indie movie
it's
that was like,
movie that took over the world, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it is a cult movie for sure. It's one of the biggest cult movies. So it's got one of the biggest followings.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's a valid thing to say. And
but as I was thinking about movies that like kind of shaped me, like that was the kind of movie that made me like really to get interested in like the behind the scenes of how the movie got made, like who made it. Yeah. You know, that was kind of one of the turning points for me where I was like, oh, like there are other movies out here besides, you know, just these big budget films, you know?
Totally.
And you know, that was kind of a monumental movie to me.
I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. I wish I had an indie movie that had a lot of heart. And the only one that I can think of is my sister and I one summer were obsessed with this movie called Safety Not Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen it?
Yeah, the newspaper article one?
Yes.
Yeah.
My sister and I were obsessed with it.
Yeah.
And that's an indie movie. You know?
Yeah.
If you haven't seen Safety Not Guaranteed, it's a pretty magical movie. Yeah. It's really funny. It's got a lot of heart to it. Mm-hmm. And it's just a good movie all around. It got a great story. It's about a news reporter. It's Aubrey Plaza from Parks and Rec. Mm-hmm. She goes off. She finds a newspaper clipping of a man who's saying he's looking for a time travel assistant. He's built a time machine, and he's looking for an assistant to have lots of adventures with, right? Mm-hmm. So she meets this person, and she goes undercover to write an article about him. And it's just a fun romp, right?
Right.
It's funny, but it's got a lot of heart and charm to it. And that to me is my Napoleon Dynamite. It's not obviously as iconic. It's not a staple of cinema, but it is like my sister and I probably watched that movie 12, 15 times over the summer. Mm-hmm. Like we would watch it once a week at least. And it was just like that sort of filmmaking, that sort of, it's really what got me into more of the indie films, you know? Mm-hmm. It wasn't like big budget explosions. It wasn't throwing up in the bathroom after seeing a helicopter transform.
Right.
It was, you know, a man who wrote a very simple story that was fun and charming and had a lot of heart to it that made me, you know, not just think about, it's not an in-depth ideological movie. It didn't make me think back on my life, but it made me think of like how fun would it have been to make this movie, you know?
Right.
How it's not like a cash grab, it's a movie that has a message and that has, you know, you can have fun watching it.
Totally.
And that movie to me is a huge staple personally. And it might have a lot to do with, you know, I watched that movie a lot with my older sister. And it was like a fun thing that we had.
Yeah.
But regardless of sisters or not, if you haven't seen it, watch it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
So those are a couple of my picks.
Yeah, there's so many, man. And this is just kind of train of thought for us. Like, we didn't make a list or...
Right. Yeah, totally. Well, I mean, we can talk all day about, like, the Goonies and Star Wars and...
Yeah, we didn't even talk about Star Wars.
Look at this room. It's covered in Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
It's a huge family staple, but if we're talking about, like... There's so many people that talk about Star Wars. If we're talking about cinema that defined my love for cinema... Yeah. It would be those movies. It wouldn't be Star Wars. As incredible as like technological advances Star Wars made, my staples were the movies I said, you know.
Yeah, and I have more too. I just, you know.
Yeah, it's a podcast and you have limited attention spans and we get it.
Yeah, and like Star Wars is a big one for me, you know.
Same.
Especially the prequels.
Especially the prequels.
The prequels were what I grew up on. Those were my Star Wars movies.
We can have a whole episode on what Star Wars means to us.
Yeah.
And like, obviously,
it means a lot.
If you look around, there's so much Star Wars.
So much.
Star Wars means so much to both of us.
Yeah.
But these movies are the first ones that came to mind.
Yeah.
And I think it's for a reason. I think it was a fun conversation
Absolutely.
to have. I learned a lot about you.
Absolutely.
And you learned that I threw up over Michael Bay.
I know. That's awesome. That's crazy. I didn't throw up over any of the movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, and like I said, man, we could talk about this forever. You know? But those are just, and maybe we'll do like a movies that made us part 2, and we'll come back to this. Maybe in another 20 episodes. Maybe at episode 40 we'll come back and do a part 2, and we'll talk more about other movies that made us and why.
What I want to hear is the movies that made you. Right?
Yeah. Let us know.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments.
We let us know just a couple. Just like,
give us a
how
little
many
story.
were there? Maybe 3 apiece? 2 apiece?
Maybe,
2 to 3 apiece.
I had 3 maybe.
Give me your 2 top ones, even if we've named them already. Like, let us know you agreed. Let us know.
And tell us why. Like, tell us why you love the movie.
Totally.
That you picked.
Yeah, totally. Obviously, we like talking about movies.
Right. So obviously.
We would love to talk to you about movies.
Totally.
Yeah. And in the meantime, should we do an outro and see how this new song works?
In the meantime, back to 1, everybody. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Podzilla. We hope you enjoyed yourself as much as we enjoyed having you here with us. If you want to send us an email, you can send us an email at thepodzillashow@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Instagram at pod.zilla. We post a lot about news and things that are going on in pop culture.
That's right.
So if you just want to follow us for updates on news, you know, even last week we posted about Bob Iger handing off being CEO of Disney. We posted about
Steven Spielberg stepping down from Indiana Jones 5.
Yeah, we talked about Batman and the new leaked photos from Batman. We've just post news out on our Instagram, and we also post updates on episodes, video clips, all of that stuff. So please go follow us on Instagram, and please like and subscribe to this video. We're really close to getting 100 subscribers, and I hope that by the time we get to 50 episodes, 100 subscribers seems like such a small feat.
Absolutely.
But we're thankful that the people that are subscribing are commenting and getting involved, and that means the world to us. That we have
a fun fan base, no doubt about it.
We really do. We really do.
Not just fan base, a fun community. Let's say that. I don't want to say a fan base. We have a fun movie loving community. And it's fun to just, talk back and forth. Like sometimes they comment on the video, sometimes they comment on the news, and it's fun to have that open dialogue.
Totally.
So it's fun. It's a fun community to be a part of.
Yeah. And you can follow us individually on Instagram. You can follow me at the David Smith Jr.
I'm at the Tonus Braden. Nope, that's you. That's a mix between you and I. I'm at Tonus Braden.
Yeah, and shoot us an email, give us a comment, like, subscribe, send us to a friend.
Yeah, leave us a 5-star review on the Apple Podcast app. Listen, we talk about YouTube a lot, but you audio listeners are one crazy bunch.
Yeah, you really are. Thank you so much.
We love
Spotify listeners. We have
absolutely.
some Spotify listeners too.
Yeah. But leave us a 5-star review. It would mean a lot to us. And also DM us, comment on the video, comment on our post, leave us a message, just say hi. It'd be fun to talk to anybody about movies.
Totally.
Yeah. But that about wraps it up for this time.
Yeah. Until next time. Always remember, I hate snakes, Jock. I hate them.
Come on and hear Alexander's ragtime band. Come on and hear, it's the best band in the land. They can play a bugle call like you never heard before. So natural that you wanna go to war. That's just the bestest band what I am on the honey lamb. Come on along, let me take you by the hand. Up to the man who's the leader of the band. And if you care to hear the Swanee River play,